The internet's very unstable. Unless I just share from you and Michael the other day.
No, we get it. There we go.
No, it won't record. Started itching that. Shouldn't have done that. Oh, you caught us unawares. I was just saying I started scratching a mosquito.
Right.
It's really sore. Well, we are talking to you live from the New Jerusalem, Newtown, Jerusalem. It's amazing here. Having an amazing time, learning a lot, experiencing a lot. Too much to say in this 5 minutes, but we will definitely, I think, be sharing for the next few weeks about some of the amazing things we've learned here in Israel. What an amazing place.
Well, I think one of the most important things I've seen is that God is faithful to His promise.
Amen.
And it just came from, what would you call it?
It was the Friends of Zion interactive tour about the history of Israel and how God began with. Do you know what I really loved? The theme of the entire tour was "Here am I," and it began with Abraham. And you know, sometimes we talk about the promises of God, but it's so important to know that it begins with the "Here am I." You know, when God speaks, it was amazing. You know, they shared about the promise to Abraham and all about the profoundness of that and the depth of that and the levels. But then they said, but the response, "Here am I."
Yes.
It's like Mary, isn't it? Like, let it be done as you have spoken, let it be done unto me. Just amazing to see how we have to partner with and accept the promise of God and surrender to the promise of God.
Well, what affected me as well was the modern day people that said, "Here am I," like Corey ten Boom, and there was other Oscar Schindler. There was so many great people that did great things that said, "Here am I." And I don't know, I think we're living in a world where I think we need to ask that question. Am I here? Am I here? What am I here for? Am I here for the promise of God, for the fulfillment of the promise of God?
Amen.
And what is my part to play in seeing the promise of God fulfilled in my generation?
Yeah.
That's what really affected me, you know?
Yeah, and you know, God's promise, that's what we really learned this morning, and we know it in our hearts, but it's good to be refreshed.
Absolutely.
That God's promise stands through time, through situations, through difficulties, through tragedy, through brokenness, through loss. God's promise remains, and it was just wonderful to see, you know, God's promise weaving its way through history, through so much. And you know, this morning we can really apply that to our lives, can't we? We're sitting here in Jerusalem, just pondering for a few minutes on the promises of God and how, you know, He's true to His promise, He's faithful, and He's that in our lives today.
Absolutely.
You know, God supersedes circumstances and time and places, and God is true to His promise. And you know, I think the important thing that we just want to share with you this morning from the New Jerusalem is like, "Here am I." You know, that should be the cry of our hearts. And sometimes if we're crying out for the promises of God and wondering why we're not seeing them being fulfilled, we need to look at how we're responding, how we're aligning our lives with His promises, and how we're devoted. And you know, we learned this morning, well, we revisited people who had sacrificed everything and risked everything. Abraham just packed up and moved on. Moses identifying with the people who were slaves to fulfill the promise. "Here am I." And you know, I think that's what we want to share.
Absolutely.
This morning,
You know, closing, ask that question to yourself. Are you going to be a "Here am I" person in this generation?
How have you responded to the promise of God in your life?
Absolutely.
Know? And if you're disappointed, how have you responded? You know, is it a call for us this morning? And that's just all we're going to share this morning. It's really short. We just wanted you to see this beautiful place. You can hear the music behind. It's just incredible, and we're going to be sharing much more. I have some videos that will be popping up on our Facebook, so keep an eye here. But too much to share in this nutshell.
Absolutely,
but I think all we're walking around this morning is just examining our own hearts this morning, and are we people that have said, "Here am I," just in response. "Here am I" doesn't ask questions.
No.
"Here am I" doesn't ask for guarantees. "Here am I" doesn't ask for, you know, for some sort of vision of what's about to happen. "Here am I" is just in obedience to God and His word and His promise. Amen.
Amen.
So have a lovely day, and we will see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. We love you all, and we'll have lots of stories for you next week. Take care. Bye.